floated out there, based on some reporting, that ownership does not look at this as they're aligned together and they have to stay together, they have to go together. So it would make really no sense to fire the GM Joe Schoen and keep the coach. I mean, that's not the merits of how Joe Schoen's performance versus Brian Daboll's. That's basically, you really can't do a GM search and say, oh, by the way, we want to sign you to a 5-year deal, but we already have a coach in place. Doesn't really make sense. The GM gets hired and then he conducts a search for the next coach. The coach doesn't come first. Unless it's some, Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, some superstar coach. Brian Daboll is not that. So the scenario I present is that if Joe Schoen stays, and I think there's a lot of thought in the building that Joe Schoen knows what he's doing, and they like the way that he deals with the scouts and evaluates players and sees the game. Has he been perfect? Absolutely not. 2-12. There's a lot of fingerprints on 2-12. But my sense right now is that Joe Schoen would stay, and then you have to make a decision on the head coach Brian Daboll. Joe Schoen, I don't believe, is going to go into ownership and say, "Look, I think we need to fire the head coach." I just don't think he feels that. I don't think he believes that. He still has allegiance and loyalty and friendship and a bond with Brian Daboll. But if John Mara and Steve Tisch goes to Joe Schoen and said, "Look, we're going to keep you, but we think we need to make a change here with coach. What do you think?" I think Joe Schoen may say a few nice things, or more than a few nice things, about Brian Daboll, and then ultimately say, if you think that's the way it is, then that's what we have to do, and he would conduct the coaching search.